Hello, and thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. I have read about your early childhood centre and I can see that your kindergarten program is highly sought after in this community. As a graduating teacher, I am both excited and privileged to be considered for this position. I am a strong believer that mathematics does not get enough credit for how powerful it is. As a child growing up in the 80s, I believed that mathematics was boring, and although, yes, mathematics is abstract in a scientific sense, being numbers and processes and concepts, when it is delivered alongside a numerator approach, children can see the similarities numeracy holds in their everyday life, and it can be fun and engaging and interesting. I believe I can create an environment that fosters a love for learning mathematics and supports children in growing the confidence to engage in numerate practices every day, and most importantly, hold a mathematical mindset and attitude that yes, I can do maths and I can do it greatly. When I envision my class and their learning environment, I see a group of children who can confidently identify their mathematical abilities when they're chanting numbers, sequencing blocks, creating patterns, or labeling shapes, but also a group of children who ooze that ability to problem solve as they fill up buckets with soil and fill a garden bed, or how many canisters of water they need to nurture that garden bed through measurement. I envision a class that can use money in a dramatic play shop and question, do I have enough to pay for all of these items? Or more importantly, can I also afford those shoes? I also can envision a class that has a love for learning and they share in that love for learning, and I can see the early learning years framework in action as they become involved learners and are connected to the world around them. I also see a class of children who can correlate the connection between maths and numeracy as they use the nature table filled with seed pods, pine cones, and flowers. And the children, as they document what they're seeing and they're drawing shapes, they're questioning which are larger and smaller. And in the middle of that flower where the pollen sits, they can see that sequence and identify the small circles. Now, as an adult, I value my own personal numeracy skills as I can fully understand how they get me from point A to point B. Well, I couldn't be with you here today to meet if I hadn't have utilized my numeracy skills of reading the map or following the sequence of directions on the navigation system. As a teacher, I would enforce the same principles to planning processes when timetabling and scheduling of intentional teaching to scaffold the children's learning of mathematics and numeracy. I would lead from modern pedagogy that children learn through play as a fundamental guide when introducing new mathematical concepts to the children, and create experiences in a learning environment which support children in everyday real life situations of that concept in action. An example of this would be devised from my readings of learning quantities. I would read a story to the children about measurement and then turn that measurement story into a sensory experience as they made pizzas from Play Doh and they questioned, how many pieces are on this pizza? Am I adding enough pineapple? This experience would be filled with mathematical language as I extend on the learning with a play based approach. Are you adding mushrooms? How many pieces are in yours? From my teaching, I know that children learn best through play. Some of the greatest theorists have helped us develop the way in which we teach today. Vygotsky introduced us to the zone of proximal development. I have learned through my teachings that there is a difference between what children can learn independently and how they can learn from others. Along with scaffolding, I will continue to support the children with what they already know and challenge them to think that little bit more and question why. This inquiry approach was also explored by Piaget, as he questioned himself, how do children learn? His operational stage can be delivered in a mathematics and numeracy supporting children with questioning cues. Why did you put that there? What makes that tower stronger? As the children move into that concrete operational stage, that's where their cognition skills really begin to respond to problem solving experiences. Past research states that children learn mathematics best through hands-on learning that is interest-based and through collaboration and watching others. Throughout my degree, my teachings have highlighted to me as a graduate that when teaching mathematics, it should be interactive and it should be demonstrated with enthusiasm so children can see the connections between maths and their real life. It is also outlined if children have that emotional connection between what they are learning, it allows them to be fully engaged in the experiences. A process led curriculum like the Early Learning Years framework plays an integral part in promoting a growth mindset. It's evident that throughout my degree, there was a negative stigma against mathematics, and it is real, and that to be a successful teacher, I need to encourage my students to gain a mathematical mindset, and through my language choices, I can make the difference between a child seeing a mistake as a failure or a learning opportunity. I will encourage my children to continue to try and in turn promote new synaptic connections in their brain development. I remember reading an article during my degree that was a turning point for me as a learner. It outlined 3 questions to ask yourself when trying to break that cycle of having a fixed mindset of not having a maths brain. It was simple. Acknowledge your feelings towards mathematics and identify, you know what? I am great at maths and I have the ability to be numerate and in fact with everything I do every day.